November 3rd. Good morning, I am Amber Lane for Lowe's Logic News. It's Friday, November 3rd. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken appealed to Israel on Friday to take steps to protect civilians in Gaza as its forces kept up their bombardment of the Palestinian enclave and the death toll among residents soared. New Delhi, November 3rd. Reuters, India's capital New Delhi was wrapped in a thick layer of toxic haze on Friday and some schools were ordered closed as the Air Quality Index, AQI, plummeted to the severe category. New Delhi again topped a real-time list of the world's most polluted cities compiled by Swiss group IQAir, which put the Indian capital's AQI at 640 in the hazardous category on Friday, followed by 335 in the Pakistani city of Lahore. Washington, November 2nd. Reuters, the United States on Thursday imposed sweeping new measures against Moscow over the war in Ukraine, targeting Russia's future energy capabilities, sanctions evasion, and a suicide drone that has been a menace to Ukrainian troops and equipment, among others, in sanctions on hundreds of people and entities. The latest measures target a major entity involved in the development, operation, and ownership of a massive project in Siberia known as Arctic 2 LNG, the State Department said in a statement. The project expected to ship chilled natural gas, known as liquefied natural gas, to global markets.
Thanks, Amber. I am Cecilia Sinclair and in World News. Jakarta, Reuters, an Indonesian court sentenced to jail on Wednesday the chief executive and 3 other officials of a company whose cough syrup has been linked to the death of more than 200 children, for violating drug safety laws, the company's lawyer said. The Indonesian company, AFI Pharma, was accused of producing cough syrups containing excess amounts of toxic material and prosecutors charged the 4 officials for consciously not testing the ingredients, despite having the means and responsibility to do so, according to a charge sheet. The company's lawyer, Reza Wendraprayogo, said they denied negligence and the company was considering whether to appeal. The officials, including CEO Arief Prasetya Harahap, were sentenced to 2 years in prison by a court in the town of Kediri, in East Java province, where the company is based. Prosecutors, who had sought up to 9 years in prison for the accused, said that AFI Pharma did not test the ingredients sent by its supplier and instead relied on certificates provided by them regarding product quality and safety.
The 3rd of November. Thanks, Cecilia. Ryan Reynolds here. The number of Americans applying for jobless benefits inched up last week but remains low by historical standards, even with the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes meant to cool the economy and taper lingering inflation. Unemployment claims rose by 5,000 to 217,000 for the week ending October 28, the Labor Department reported Thursday. Jobless claim applications are seen as representative of the number of layoffs in a given week. Overall, 1.82 million people were collecting unemployment benefits the week that ended October 21, about 35,000 more than the previous week. Jury begins deliberating fate of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. New York. A New York jury has begun deliberating whether FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was guilty of fraud in the disappearance of billions of dollars from his customers' accounts on the cryptocurrency exchange. The jury began deliberating in Manhattan Federal Court on Thursday afternoon, after a judge explained the law that will steer them through 7 charges lodged against the 31-year-old California man. Bankman-Fried testified during the month-long trial that he did not defraud thousands of investors worldwide. He was extradited to New York from the Bahamas last December to face the charges. He's been jailed since August. New York. Wall Street roared higher, adding to its rally from the day before on hopes the Federal Reserve may finally be done with its market-rattling hikes to interest rates. The S&P 500 jumped 1.9% Thursday. The Dow added 564 points, and the Nasdaq Composite climbed 1.8%. Stocks around the world leaped after the Federal Reserve late Wednesday hinted that a recent jump in Treasury yields may be acting like a rate hike substitute. The 10-year yield fell further Thursday, releasing pressure that had built on Wall Street. Reports on the U.S. economy also offered hope for momentum pulling down on inflation.
Thanks, Ryan. I am Misty Merkel and in Crime News.
A 36-year-old man was fatally shot early Wednesday in southeast D.C., police said. The shooting occurred in the 3900 block of Southern Avenue SE, near the district's border with Prince George's County, MD. Police said a call came in about the incident at 3:19 a.m., and officers found a man unconscious and not breathing. Julius McCree, of Southeast, died at a hospital, police said. He made me feel happy and loved, said his 12-year-old daughter, J.A. Marie McCree. A police spokesperson said that according to a preliminary investigation, the shooting occurred outside. By Wednesday afternoon, police had not made an arrest in McCree's killing. Police initially misspelled his last name. Latest police data shows 230 people have been killed so far this year in Washington, a 31% increase compared with the same period last year.
3rd November 2023. I am Dylan Durbin, and in world and national health news. In news that we shouldn't take sitting down, a study just published in JAMA finds that people who stay seated for long hours at work and home are at much higher risk of developing dementia than people who sit less. The negative effects of extended sitting can be so strong, researchers found, that even people who exercise regularly face higher risk if they sit for much of the day. The study, which involved 49,841 men and women aged 60 or older, supports the idea that more time spent in sedentary behaviors increases one's risk of dementia, said Andrew Budson, a professor of neurology at Boston University and author of 7 Steps to Managing Your Aging Memory, who was not involved with the study. The results also underscore just how pervasive the consequences of sitting can be, affecting our minds as well as our bodies, and they hint that exercise by itself may not be enough to protect us. The downsides of oversitting are well known to scientists and most of the rest of us. Past research shows that people who sit throughout the day, accumulating multiple hours of sedentary time at the office, commuting, and at home, in front of televisions and computers, are more likely to develop heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and other illnesses, and die prematurely compared to people who often get up and move around.
November 3rd. Thanks Dylan, I am Tyler Turnbull with sports and weather. Liverpool forward Diogo Jota raced teammate Luis Diaz's number 7 jersey toward the crowd after scoring the opening goal in their team's Sunday match against Nottingham Forest. 2 days later, and some 4,700 miles away, residents of the Colombian town of Barrancas held a candlelit march, carrying posters and wearing shirts adorned with the same last name. Both gestures were connected to the same issue, with Jota's display meant as a tribute to Diaz, the Colombian winger whose parents were kidnapped Saturday. Diaz's parents were reportedly at a gas station in Barrancas, near the northern tip of the country, when they were abducted by armed men on motorcycles. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said Saturday that Diaz's mother, Salinis Marulanda, was rescued within hours, but his father, Luis Manuel Diaz, remains missing. As DC United seeks both a general manager and head coach, the MLS organization is also in the process of evaluating the roster and deciding who will return. Defender Donovan Pines, though, has greater control of his future and might leave the club. With his contract expiring at the end of the year, the 6'4" centre-back is weighing his options in the league and overseas, according to his agent, Mike Senkowski. We are preparing for free agency, as well as engaging with clubs in Europe, Senkowski told the Washington Post. There is interest in Pines in Belgium and in England's second division, known as the Championship, Senkowski said. Because fewer than 6 months remain on Pines' contract, Pines has the flexibility to sign a pre-contract overseas and join a club when European transfer windows open in January. United would not receive a transfer fee. That is all for today. Please like, share, subscribe and catch our podcast on Google Podcast, Samsung, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify and others. This has been Lowe's Logic.